There's something about being home alone that makes every sound louder. The ticking clock, the hum of the refrigerator, even your own heartbeat. But for some people, the silence of midnight was broken by something far worse. Tonight, you'll hear 3 true Home Alone horror stories, real events, experienced by ordinary people who still refuse to stay alone after midnight. Our first story comes from a college girl named Emily. She lived in a small off-campus apartment near Portland, Oregon, a 1-bedroom unit facing a narrow alley. It was a rainy Friday night, and she was pulling an all-nighter for her psychology midterm. At exactly 12:14 a.m., she heard something strange. 3 slow knocks on her window. Emily froze. Her apartment was on the ground floor. The window faced a blind alley behind the building. Nobody should have been there. She whispered to herself, "Probably just a branch." But then it happened again. 3 more knocks, and this time, a faint male whisper followed. "I know you're in there." Her heart started racing. She switched off her desk lamp, plunging the room into darkness. The only light came from her laptop screen. She slowly closed it and listened. Moving from the window toward her back door, Emily grabbed her phone. It was on the charger near the window. She hesitated, terrified of making a sound. She finally mustered the courage, crawled to the charger, and grabbed her phone. The screen's light reflected faintly off the glass, and in that reflection, she saw a face staring back. She screamed and ducked under the desk. The phone slipped from her hands, but she managed to dial 911. Operator. 911, what's your emergency? Emily. There's someone at my window. Dispatcher told her to stay quiet. Officers were minutes away. But while she whispered, she heard the unmistakable squeak of her window latch. The window was opening. Emily crawled silently toward the bedroom and locked herself in. Pressing her back to the door, she heard the floor creak. Someone was inside. Then, nothing. Just her shallow breathing and the faint buzz of her phone. Minutes later, she heard sirens outside. When the police arrived, the intruder was gone, but the window was open, and muddy footprints led to the alley. One of the officers found something glinting under the window. A key. Emily didn't recognize it at first, until the next morning. It was her spare key, the one she used to keep under the doormat. Our next story comes from Ethan, a single father living in a quiet suburb of North Carolina. He had a 2-year-old daughter, Sophie, and a routine. Dinner at 7, bedtime at 8, Netflix until midnight. It was a calm Tuesday night. Ethan sat on his couch, scrolling through his phone, when the baby monitor crackled with static. He leaned closer. Then, out of nowhere, he heard a voice. "She's so beautiful when she sleeps." Ethan's stomach dropped. He froze, staring at the monitor. trying to make sense of what he just heard. His daughter was alone upstairs, asleep. He switched the channel on the monitor. Still static. Then the voice came again. "Don't wake her up yet." Ethan sprinted upstairs, nearly tripping over the last step. He burst into Sophie's room. She was still fast asleep in her crib. He checked under the bed, behind the curtains. Nothing. Then he noticed something odd. The baby monitor camera, normally pointed at the crib, was turned slightly toward the closet. He walked toward it slowly, holding his phone flashlight up. His breathing was loud. His pulse was louder. He pulled the door open. Nothing, just toys and tiny clothes. He turned back toward the crib, and for half a second, the monitor screen flickered, showing a man's pale face smiling directly into the camera. Ethan grabbed Sophie and ran outside to his car, barefoot. He called the police from the driveway. When they arrived, the back fence behind the house had been cut open. There were muddy footprints leading right to the nursery window. They never caught anyone, but for months, Ethan swore he could still hear static at night, even after throwing the monitor away. Story 3, The Basement Door. Our final story comes from Lisa, who inherited an old 2-story house from her grandparents. It was a creaky, quiet place, the kind that echoed when you walked. That winter, a snowstorm cut the power for half the night. Lisa lit candles and settled in her bedroom, reading a book to pass the time. At exactly midnight, she heard something downstairs. A door creaking open. It was the basement door. Lisa hadn't been down there in weeks. She called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" No answer. Then, she ran to her bedroom door and locked it, clutching her phone. No signal. The footsteps stopped, right outside her room. For a full minute, there was silence, until she heard a faint tapping noise from inside the wall next to her bed. "You shouldn't have moved the boxes." Lisa's mind raced. Earlier that day, she'd moved a few dusty boxes from the basement corner. One had her grandfather's name written on it. Now someone or something knew. She grabbed her keys and flashlight, opened her window, and jumped into the snow below. Her ankle twisted painfully, but she limped toward the road where she saw the faint glow of headlights. A neighbor had seen the lights flickering and called the police. When officers searched the house, they found the basement door wide open. Inside the basement, near the far wall where the boxes had been, a makeshift bed made of old blankets and cans. Someone had been living there, but that wasn't the worst part. Hidden under one of the boxes was a small pile of Polaroid photos. Every single one showed Lisa sleeping in her bed. The police told Lisa the intruder must have entered through a crawl space connected to an abandoned storm drain. They never found who it was. Lisa sold the house 2 months later and moved into a high-rise apartment, one with no basement. But sometimes, on quiet nights, she swears she still hears tapping on the wall. It's easy to think the world outside your home is where danger lives, but sometimes the real horror waits inside, hidden in the walls, or just beyond the glass. 3 different people, 3 different nights, all united by the same fear, being home alone at midnight. If you ever hear a sound you can't explain, don't brush it off. Don't ignore it, because when the night grows quiet, that's when they move. This was Mr. Hunting Night. Good night, if you can sleep.